do you ever feel like, gosh, it's like I just can't take a breath? Just tightness in the chest. Can't open it up. Not alone. And if you're like, nah, that's not me, go for a run. Buen día, buen día. Todo bien. Love the Dominican Republic. Every time I run, it's like everybody, not everybody, but a good amount of people are very excited to see Gringo running. And my friends that I can somewhat decipher their Spanish tell me that really it's not good to run in the heat. It's bad for the heart. And I'm like, well, kind of encouraged me right there, because I've basically been doing the opposite of what people tell me is good for you and doing the thing that people said are bad. And it's been working out pretty well at 41 years old. But back to you should wear a mask because it's not safe. I'm not going to do that. And meanwhile, everyone else is neurologically and chronically weak in their immune system. But don't go to chiropractors, they're not real doctors. Keep on your drug addiction that your medical doctor started you on. Yeah, no thanks. I'll run in the heat. And the reason why I came to this belief system is because it just keeps on being right. I'll stop doing it when it starts being wrong. Not that I'm right. It's just good strategy. So if you don't feel like you can't catch a breath, go for a run. See how far you can go. It's kind of become a lost bit of knowledge that our species, Homo sapiens, the reason why we were able to, it's theorized the reason why we were able to excel as the dominant species on Earth. A, because God perfectly designed us. But B, is because we can run. We got big old brains and big old butts. So we could locomote for long distances, run for long distances, and hunt better than other species like the Neanderthals and the other stronger species. And so go for a run. And then if you're like, oh God, you can't breathe. Yeah, you can't do the one thing that our species does, which is go fast for extended periods of time. In essence, you're missing out on the thing that made our species the number one in the world, and which has been shown to increase vagus nerve function, which gives us feelings of peace, joy, ease, confidence, certainty, engages the prefrontal cortex. But I can get it because that hang up of I can't freaking breathe. Okay, I get that also because during the pandemic it was like I was under so much stress. Like the government threatened me with, jail time and fines and all my employees just breaking down, turning me into the Department of Health, that I was bad and endangering people's lives because I didn't put a piece of fabric on my face, stop an airborne virus. My in-laws shaming me, patients shaming me. You are bad. Have you ever had someone just call you bad over and over? It feels not good. The thing is, I know I'm bad. It's just a matter of what kind of bad am I. Not the bad that doesn't know about health. That's for sure. Again, case study, Buenos dias. And so I didn't really develop this technique of breathing until coming down here. Because like I said before, I was just so stressed, so much tightness in my throat, and my upper chest, that I was like, just even though I was a marathon runner, felt like I couldn't just get your breath. And then the first time we came out to the property in the Dominican Republic, I was like, again, experiencing like a full deep breath, like immersed in nature. Got me kind of down the road of studying the vagus nerve and its effect on circulation, blood flow, healing, and adaptation. And the technique that I'm going to discuss at the end of this is basically how to floss the vagus nerve in order to increase circulation. Buen dia. And the vagus nerve starts off the base of the neck. It's cranial nerve 11. And it goes down, it kind of interacts with C1, C2. And then it comes into the upper thoracic spine and then kind of down into the guts. So its distribution is basically everywhere you kind of feel stress. Like you have a tension, headache, where is it at? Base of the neck, vagus nerve. Buen dia, buen dia. And when you have stress in your shoulders, where do you feel it? Right there. When you feel a lot of stress, you feel sick to your stomach. There's all the distribution of the vagus nerve. So when you activate the vagus nerve, you activate the healing and calming centers within the brain. So the reason why it's hard to catch a breath is because if our neuroanatomy is stuck in a stress state, we stay in what's called the
lap 12,
dorsal
939.
pattern, which is momentary, Buenos dias, Ruby, where we're meant to act for short distances of time, basically 30 seconds, and then breathe really heavy in our chest to get power into our heart, but not circulate within our body. Because the fight or flight response really is only a 30-second response. So the reason why you can't catch a breath is because your body's operating off the wrong neurological system. It's only helpful 30 seconds at a time. So when you attempt to do something that's longer than 30 seconds, your body fatigues out. And then the default mechanism is what's called the dorsal vagal response, freeze. So I can't breathe, stop, I gotta stop. You ever find yourself stuck in indecision? Dorsal vagal nervous system. It's your automatic hardwire. It's your primitive nervous system trained to make you stop, freeze, stay. Like a dog commanded, because it's our primitive reflex. It would be our nervous system that would default to the stronger person in our pack, waiting for them to tell us what to do. Starting to feel familiar. If you look around, how many people shut down in conversations, avoid conflict, freeze, continue in habits that are not healthy, continue in relationships that are not healthy, continue in jobs that they are not happy or healthy in, continue in friendship groups that are not healthy or happy. Like, why did they do that? It's a nervous system, dorsal vagal response. Sometimes they get a little emotional motivation, and they're like, I'm changing. You heard this? You said this? And then, it's not that bad actually where I'm at. Until someone that is more powerful than you tells you what to do. Then you do it. And some would say, oh, not me. We'll refer you back to 5 years ago. Dorsal vagal nervous system took over real good. People did a lot of things that they said they would never do, including myself. I said I would never be mean to people. I would always be kind. I got real mean. And so the technique to immediately catch a breath and then engage the ventral vagal nervous system response in order to then heal and increase circulation. I'm going to show you right here. It has to do right here with your guts. If you have a gut on you, it is not because you are fat. It is because you have an inhibited ventral vagal nervous system. Buen dia. And there is not circulation to the area. Buen dia. And stagnation leads to inflammation, which is what adipose is. Happens everywhere within the body. If you have misalignment in the spine and you don't have movement in that spine, all the muscles around that spine turn to fat. So that gut that you have, not because you need to do more sit-ups, you gotta get the vagus nerve engaged, which does not happen with doing sit-ups. Sorry, CrossFitters. And so to take a breath is actually to breathe all the way out. So, buen dia. So, and when you breathe out, hola, hola. So this wants to be way down here, below the belly button. So, when you do this breath, however big a breath you have, breathe in, or whatever way you want to breathe in, and then when you breathe out, think of squeezing below the belly button in as hard as you can, and almost acting as if your pelvis or your sacrum is going to shift forward. So in essence, you're doing a little bit of humping motion, right? So it's, and then breathe out as hard as you can. Buen dia. And push it out as far as you can, and then hold it as long as you can. You know, the thing is, it's like there's all these like box breathing techniques, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. But really, you want to train the nervous system to have an adaptive response. You have to go as far as you feel like you possibly can. So when you breathe it all the way out, squeeze that lower ab in, tuck the hips forward like you're gonna hump forward. I hate that. I don't know the better word to say that. And then hold it out as long as you can. And then when you take a breath after that, it will feel as if the in-breath is automatic and easy. So to take a breath, we actually have to blow out. Okay? And I'll explain what the mechanism of this is. The mechanism is because we have something called cerebrospinal fluid motion. So we have our brain and our spinal cord, and then we have something called cerebrospinal fluid that accompanies it, or wraps it. It's like kind of like the buffer. And this fluid is what nourishes or feeds our entire nervous system. It is about twice the sugar content of our blood, because our nerves require a lot of energy to fire, to function, to work. And so when you have muscles that are cramping, it's actually not the muscles cramping, it's the neurology unable to get glucose in order to fire to relax the muscle, okay? And that's a really important one because there's been a lot of products being sold to help with muscle relaxation. Again, it is a lack of activation of the nerve to cause the muscle to relax. It takes just as much energy for a muscle to contract as it does to relax. So when the muscle's in spasm, it's not because it's too tired. If it was tired, it would relax. It's because it's locked in a on position, unable to get energy to it to turn it off. Okay, so when you take the breath out and you push out, basically you force pressure within the cerebrospinal fluid system. And the way it works is if you Google open spine surgery and you watch them do it, while they're doing it, you'll see the fluid washing up and down, washing like within the spine. It's this clear fluid. And how it pumps is it's pumping to its own rhythm. It is not controlled by the heart, it's controlled by our central nervous system. So the ventricles within our brain and within our skull pump like this, and then buen dia, and then our sacrum rocks forward and back. So the sacrum is meant to come forward and come back, come forward, come back. So in essence, that humping motion is part of the circulatory system of enriching our nervous system. So when you breathe out and you flex it forward, you're pumping that CSF throughout the whole system, in essence allowing the nervous system to now relax everything. So, which then allows the bronchioles to open up, allows to get out of that fight or flight motion for just a moment. Now, how often should a person do this? well, how often is your fight or flight response getting activated? And Terry, you'll appreciate this being a pastor. There's 3 things that activate this fight or flight response. The reptilian center of our brain, as Jesus would call it, the snakes of the world, that center, which we all are now. Sad news. Bad news bears. And that is sin. Okay? But I make it a little more functional. Buen dia. Because S.
Lab 13, 917.
Is for synthetic environment. You see, when I arrived on the top of a mountain in the jungles in the Dominican Republic, and I could take a breath, it's because the first time my nervous system had been in a fully natural environment and was able to let its guard down. So synthetic environment, anything outside of the natural world, anything outside of what would have been biblically the Garden of Eden. And this is, again, why people say camping is good for you, being nature hiking, good for you. Yeah, it's because everything not that puts us in a fight or flight response. Sitting being the worst one, which leads to the I in sin, inactivity. Sitting would always be a point of being in danger in the wild, neurologically, developmentally speaking, for over 300,000 years, which again is how long our species has been around. So, because we got big butts and we got big brains, but we do not have claws or any. We were sitting when it was during the day. Our nervous system would say, you better be on guard.